Dear students, this is the third unit of grade 6, Water as a Natural Resource. If we talk about water, you know water is something essential for the maintenance of life. That means we can't think of a life without water. Here we are considering the naturally available water, which is very important for a large number of day-to-day activities. Here I will answer the questions which appear on your screen. First one, name some sources from which we can obtain water naturally. You know, there are several man-made structures from which we can obtain water, like wells, tanks, giving the meaning level, and reservoirs. Here we have to consider the term naturally. The natural ways of obtaining water are rain, springs, rivers, natural ponds, waterfalls, and streams. Then you are asked to name some reservoirs in Sri Lanka. You know there are so many reservoirs. I will name some like Maduroya, Kotmale, Victoria, Rantenigala, Rantambe, Moragahakanda, and Lunugam Vehera. You can find so many other reservoirs in Sri Lanka. Then, as the third question, you are asked to describe an activity to be done to identify the states of water under the given topics. Here, you know, water is a water is a matter. You know, there are 3 states for matter, and therefore water also has 3 states. We are going to learn about these 3 states by this simple activity which is available in your textbook. The things needed are some ice cubes and a test tube or a boiling tube is better, and a burner. A Bunsen burner is used here, and you need a test tube holder. Then the method is you have to put the ice cubes into the test tube or the boiling tube. Then you have to heat it up by using the Bunsen burner. You can do this under the guidance of an adult. Then you know what you can observe are, first, these ice cubes will melt and form liquid water. So you have to record your observations here. There you can write, first, ice cubes melt and form liquid water, and then on further heating, that liquid water will be converted into water vapor. The observations are, first one, ice cubes will melt and form liquid water, and second observation is, on further heating, this liquid water will be converted into water vapor. Then what is your conclusion? Based on the observations, you can say water has 3 physical states known as ice, liquid water, and water vapor. The conclusion is water has 3 physical states known as ice, liquid water, and water vapor. Based on that understanding, you can fill in the blanks here. Ice, here you have to say heating. Then ice on heating will be converted into liquid water. Then that liquid water on further heating, here you have to say heating, and it will be converted into water vapor. Water vapor. Then the reversible process. You know, when there is water vapor, on cooling it, or what we call as condensation. On condensation, this water vapor will be converted into liquid water. Here it should be liquid water. Liquid water. Then this liquid water on cooling, when you keep some water in a container in the freezer, it will be frozen into ice. So here you can say freezing or cooling. If I repeat, ice on heating will be converted into liquid water. Then on further heating, it will be converted into water vapor. Then water vapor on condensation or cooling will again form liquid water. Liquid water on freezing will form ice. So it is clear that there are three states for water. Then the fifth question, give examples for water existing in solid state in natural environment. So again think of the term natural environment. There is ice and there is snow, glaciers as well as frost. You look at the images given. Here you are shown ice, glaciers, snow, as well as there is frost. After that, you are asked give examples for water existing in liquid state in the natural environment. So at the beginning also we mentioned about this. You can say rain, lakes, streams, rivers, tanks, ponds, and sea. Here you can see a river. Well is a man-made structure, and sea, a tank is shown. Water existing in the liquid state. Right. Then we'll move on to the next question. Give examples for water existing in gaseous state in the natural environment. So as gaseous state of water or water vapor, we can say steam and water vapor. Steam and water vapor are the examples for the gaseous state of water. Gaseous state of water. Then you are asked to describe an activity to test whether there is water vapor in the atmosphere. So you need to show that there is water vapor in the atmosphere. So from your day-to-day life experiences, you may have seen this, observed this. So this is again a simple activity. So you need to show that there is water vapor in the atmosphere. You need a glass and you need some ice cubes and some water and a piece of cardboard. If you write about the method, you have to fill half of the glass with some water, and you have to, before putting ice cubes, you have to observe the external surface of the glass. When you put some water into a glass, you can't observe anything on the outer surface of the glass. After that, you put some ice cubes into the same glass and close it with a piece of cardboard. Then you have to observe the outer surface of the glass after putting the ice cubes. There, what is the observation? When you put some water into a glass and put some ice cubes into it and cover it with a cardboard sheet. The observations are, can you guess? The observations are, there are colorless drops, colorless liquid drops on the outer surface of the glass. There are colorless liquid drops on the outer surface of the glass. So what has happened here? You know, when we put ice cubes into water, the surface of the glass also becomes cold. Then what happens is, the water vapor in the atmosphere condense on the cold outer surface of the glass. Therefore, you can see these colorless drops. These colorless drops are drops of water. So, here as the observation you have to say, there are colorless droplets on the outer surface of the glass. The conclusion is, there is water vapor in the atmosphere and that water vapor get condensed on the cold outer surface of the glass. So you can experience this practically in certain other instances as well. Can you guess? Yes, have you seen on a rainy day, on the inner side of a shutter of a closed vehicle, there, there is a mist-like thing deposited, and sometimes you may have experienced that you try to write your name on it, on the inner surface of the shutter when it is raining outside, or you just wipe the shutter to look outside. There what has happened is, as it is raining outside, the surface of the shutter or the glass has become cold. Therefore, water vapor inside the vehicle gets deposited or get condensed on the cold shutter. And that is another practical example to show that there is water vapor in the atmosphere. Then the ninth question asks to state some methods by which water vapor is added to atmosphere. What are the methods by which water vapor is added to the atmosphere? Yes, water vapor is added to the atmosphere from plants. That is the process we call as transpiration. Transpiration is the loss of water from a plant in the form of water vapor. Then, due to respiration of plants and animals, also water vapor is added to the atmosphere. Respiration of plants and animals. Then you can say as the third one, evaporation from water bodies. You know, when you keep a plate with some amount of water outside exposed to sun, after some time you will observe that water is not more there. That is because that water has been evaporated. Likewise, from the water bodies like tanks, ponds, rivers, the ocean, water is evaporated. So that is evaporation from water bodies. Then as the fourth method, you can say boiling water. So water is boiled for different industrial purposes as well, in addition to the water boiled in households. Boiling of water for several purposes. Right? So these are the methods by which water vapor is added to atmosphere. Transpiration, respiration of plants and animals, evaporation from water bodies, and boiling of water. Then, now if you can remember, so far we have discussed about the three states of matter. Actually, it is the three states of water in this lesson. Then we are going to discuss about types of water based on availability. What are the types of water based on its availability? Water is available in different forms, and what are these types? What happens to the raindrops when they fall onto the earth? In order to learn about the types of water based on availability, we have to think of this. What happens to the raindrops when they fall onto the earth? So what are the things that are possible? So sometimes that water floats on the ground. Sometimes a certain amount of water is absorbed by the soil. And in certain instances, some amount of water is gathered in muddy puddles. So here this activity is to discuss about what happens to water, rainwater, once it is fallen on the ground. Find out the behavior of raindrops when they fall down. So in order to observe this, you need to make this simple setup. You need a glass tank. You can take an empty fish tank, clay, sand, some stones, and gravel in soil. Then you have to take a tin after making a number of holes on the bottom of the tin. So what you have to do is you have to put the components of the soil into the glass tank as shown here. After that, you have to fill the tin with water and pour that water onto the components that you have prepared in the glass tank. So it is something like rain falling on the ground. Observe the flow of water. So what are your observations? And based on your observations, you have to draw conclusions as well. Right. So what will happen? You will observe that some amount of water which is falling will flow on the surface, and some amount of water will be absorbed by these layers of soil, and a little amount of water will be collected on the surface of soil. So based on your observations, you can fill in the blanks here. The water comes to the tin and falls on the soil is called precipitation. 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 The water which flows through the components of soil is called the groundwater. That water penetrates through the layers of soil. Then the water remaining on soil is called surface water. Here it should be surface water. Surface water. Accordingly, the three types of water based on availability are precipitation or rain, groundwater, and the third one is surface water. Accordingly, the three ways in which water is available are precipitation or rain, groundwater, and surface water. So we'll consider the types of water based on availability one by one. There. First we'll consider precipitation. What are the types of precipitation? They are rain, snow, hail, and sleet. So what we call as hail is small balls of ice. You know about rain and snow. And sleet is the rain with ice. And in addition to these, you can mention about drizzle as well. Drizzle. That is rain in fine drops or fine particles. Then the second type of water based on availability is surface water. So the types of surface water are oceans, sea, river, streams, tanks, ponds, lakes, as well as waterfalls. We can give so many examples for surface water. Then the third one is groundwater. Groundwater is available in wells as well as springs. So this groundwater is found underground in cracks and spaces in soil and sand as well as rocks. Now we are moving on to another new part, that is the dissolution of substances in water. Dissolution means so many things get dissolved in water. So it is a special property of water because water is a very good solvent. Dissolution of different things in water is a special property of water. You can dissolve so many things in water. Many things are dissolved in seawater. So, sodium chloride is one type of salt dissolved in seawater. Sodium chloride is one we call as salt. This is the reason for seawater to taste salty. If you have tasted some seawater, you may have definitely felt the salty taste. So, based on salinity, water can be categorized into another three types. They are fresh water, marine water and brackish water. Fresh water, marine water and brackish water. Brackish water. So, salt is produced, which we call as sodium chloride, is produced in salterns. Salterns. And there we are vaporizing seawater. Seawater is allowed to evaporate and we make salt out of seawater. So you may have seen different salterns available in Puttlam and Hambantota areas. So here you are given a description about the types of water based on salinity. First, fresh water. Water available in wells, ponds, rivers, streams, waterfalls is known as fresh water. The amount of saline or salt dissolved in fresh water is very low. The water we consume, the water taken from a well, river or a pond or a stream or a waterfall, there is no salinity there. The reason is the amount of salts dissolved in that fresh water is very low. If we take marine water, here it is Meridia and here Karadia, marine water. The water in seas and oceans is known as marine water. The amount of saline or salts dissolved in marine water is very high. That is why there is a salty taste. Then brackish water is the water available in lagoons, colorful. The amount of saline dissolved in brackish water is less than marine water but higher than fresh water. The amount of salts dissolved in brackish water is higher than fresh water but less than marine water. So the salinity of brackish water is in between fresh water and marine water.